take a session only introducing him. Uh, Shubha Vilas Prabhuji is a motivational speaker, a storyteller, a TEDx speaker, and an author. His fast-paced books pretty much reflect his fast-paced attitude. He has so much packed in one particular day. And it's no wonder that in just a span of 5 years, he has come up with over 10 bestsellers. Yes, over 10 nationwide best-selling books. So Prabhuji completed his electronic engineering, but having multifaceted interests, he landed up pursuing patent law, which is a very unique and a very diverse kind of thing to pursue. But finally, his true calling was in spirituality, and that's when he chose the path of being a spiritual seeker. Now, enthusiastic to share all that knowledge that he has, he's embarked himself on this journey as a motivational speaker, and he reaches out to corporates and student bodies. And the writing that he does is just an extension of that spiritual calling. So being very deep in his thoughts, his books also reflect that, his contemporary subjects like human relationships, how they work or how they fail, or how leaders can maximize their true potential as leaders. How ancient wisdom, which is packed in our epics, can be easily relatable to modern day, right? Some of his books talking about the Ramayana, the game of life, which is a 6 series on the Ramayana, out of which 5 books are already published and are nationwide bestsellers. Besides that, he has open-eyed meditation, one of my personal favorites. It has practical wisdom for dealing with our daily dilemmas. He has Chronicles of Hanuman. He has Mystical Tales for a Magical Life, which is basically adventure stories from the Puranas. Then there's Perfect Love. And for children, he has the Panchatantra, and he has just come out with the Ramayana also for kids. So the USP of Prabhuji's work is the application of spiritual wisdom in our day-to-day life. And to address the corporate community and top-level personnel, he's also been into taking so many of these seminars with themes which are just apt for today's corporate world: work-life balance, soul curry to stop worry, secrets for lasting relationships. And his audience is all across the globe. So whether it's the US, countries of the Middle East like Dubai, Bahrain, Qatar, going down to South Africa, Maldives, so many countries in Europe like Germany, down to Australia. So it's a global audience that Prabhuji has been addressing. But his most important, or his key passion that I feel is what is his contribution for kids, and his need that he feels for education of children. And the reason he feels that is essentially because he feels that education should build character. So he has incorporated this wonderful module, education, value education model for kids, which can easily be incorporated in the modern day syllabuses of schools and colleges. And with this as the guiding principle, he has even done, and he's also teaching in the IIMs and the IITs, leadership based on the Ramayana. So there is a lot I can go on with, but these sessions are long and I don't want to take too much of your time. So I hand it over to Shubha Vilas Prabhuji to take us on this wonderful journey. Thank you very much. Over to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Vishal Prabhu, for introducing so kindly. I'd like to welcome all of you all to our session. Before we begin our session, I would like to offer a small prayer. As I had said right in the beginning, that it would be wonderful if you could keep your cameras on. I don't want to make it compulsory to keep your cameras on, but it would be really wonderful if all of you all, whoever can keep your cameras on, keep it on, so that your attention is the best when you all are when your camera is on, your attention is actually the best. I've noticed that, and also it'll help me look at y'all, how much y'all are absorbing, how much y'all are relating to what I'm saying. And it will make it more personal. Thank you. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Lakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakanutamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Rama Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Extremely honored and grateful to be amidst all of y'all here today. Um, Many of y'all, not many, some of y'all I already know, and many of y'all I don't know at all. Some of you all may be knowing me, and many of you all may not be knowing me. But we're going to be spending 6 weeks together. At the end of 6 weeks, you will know me quite a lot, and you will have gained a perspective to life that you will never forget. I can assure you that. I would highly, highly recommend you all to. I know that it's going to be 2 intense hours of hearing and absorbing knowledge. I would highly recommend you all, if you all can keep these 2 hours exclusive to hearing this, hearing what I have to say, because I can assure you, you would have never heard anything like this in your life. What we're going to hear is, in essence, the entire Bhagavad Gita just put together in a very amazing format. It's the essence of the Gita. So it will really be great if your absorption is 100%. Usually these courses, we conduct it physically, where there is a room full of people and I'm actually physically present there and sharing this. It's most effective then, because I can see faces. I can, and it's after the session. There's a lot of interactions that happen, but unfortunately, the situation in which all of us are, it's a little strange. But nonetheless, education cannot stop. Uh, we have to keep learning and we have to keep going ahead in life. I am doing this course, The Journey of Self-Discovery, after probably 6 or 7 years. Um, there was a point of time where I used to do this course on a regular basis, but I haven't been doing it for many, many years now. And finally, after so many years, I've decided to do this course again, simply because I felt at this point, last many years, as Vishal introduced, I've been traveling extensively and I've been doing so many courses at different levels at the IIMs and NMIMS and IITs and so many institutes across the world, especially in the corporate world. So it's been a roller coaster for me. But finally, I thought now it's time for me to teach Gita again systematically. I have at least taught Gita 6 or 7 times. Each time, the entire Gita takes about 2 or 3 years to teach. And so thousands of people have learned the Bhagavad Gita from me, and a lot of people are hearing the audios of Bhagavad Gita. It has extremely help them on a personal level. So what we're going to do today in the next six sessions is simply called the journey of self-discovery. The word self-discovery says it all, right? We are going to help you discover what is inside you. A lot of us, we intuitively know a lot of things. We, by the culture in which we are raised up, family in which we are raised up, and the knowledge we have acquired over a period of time, either by reading or by hearing from our parents, grandparents, sometimes from the television, sometimes from reading books. So somewhere, things have made sense to us. Something about God, something about ourselves, something about karma, something about, purpose of life. So randomly, we have heard a lot. But this six sessions is going to put everything together in a box. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Every session that we're going to do in the next six sessions is going to answer many important questions of your life. For some of y'all, these questions have been troubling you all for the entire life. For some of y'all who are just jumping into this course without a clear-cut understanding of what this course is about, you may not have thought of such things, but as you hear, you will be forced to think of many things that you have never thought. And for some of you all who have been troubled by the coronavirus and gone through losses, gone through pain, gone through trauma, gone through grief, this course will be a healing experience. I can tell you that if you really attentively focus on what you are going to hear, it will really, really help you heal. Having said that, we'll dive deep in. There are a few things that are ground rules for the course. If possible, keep a paper and pen with you. There is a lot that you will want to remember for the rest of your life. So, and usually I speak very fast. So, I'm a Tamilian by background. So, Tamil people speak 2x speed, So there's a lot that will be coming that you might want to remember and you might want to recollect for the rest of your life. So please do keep a paper and pen handy. It'll be useful. Also, if you have any questions during the session, don't raise your hand in the middle of the session. It just distracts people. Please keep the question noted down in your paper and pen and hold it till the end of the session. At the end of the session, we'll have a sufficient time for question answers. I will not end the session without answering all your questions, how many ever there are, and we'll keep sufficient time for it. So essentially, this course is the course on the fundamentals of Bhagavad Gita. Niti Mataji, just a quick suggestion. Whoever is that audio brick in the waiting room, you can take him in, and once he is inside, send him a personal message asking him to change his name. And if he doesn't do it, then you can remove him out of the session. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. So this course is a course on the fundamentals of Bhagavad Gita. We do not claim that we're going to teach the entire Gita in this course. It's impossible to teach the entire Gita in 6 sessions. The Gita takes time, and it will take sufficient time. But we promise you that this is going to be the essence of the Gita. The most important messages of the Gita are going to be put together and shared with you all. We will begin every session sharp on time. 7 o'clock will begin and we'll end at 9 sharp. Some of the sessions are really long and there's a lot to share, lot to discuss. If it spills over, we will see how to handle it. We may have to cut down on the question answers. We will see how to handle that as we reach there. I'm just going to give you all a quick overview of what you're going to experience these 6 sessions. Today, we're going to be discussing the first topic, which is the search for happiness. All of us are searching for happiness in our lives, but the experience of happiness we have is very limited. We experience it for some time and then it disappears. So everyone is searching for happiness that lasts forever. So how do you experience happiness that lasts forever? That's the first session. The second day is going to be on a topic known as Does God Exist? This session is going to be talking about the proof for the existence of God. This session is a very powerful session. It will give you a lot of logic and reasoning. In India, almost every person is a theist. Everyone believes in God. But somehow we don't have the logic to understand why we believe in God. Now our faith is also circumstantial. Depending on the situation in which we are either believers or non-believers. So this session is going to be a very powerful insight into the proof for the existence of God. The third session is called as Who Am I? This session is a very powerful introspective session, which is going to change the way you look at yourself. It is going to completely change the way you look at the purpose of life and the purpose of existence. This session, it's actually a very powerful churning session because it changes the way you look at life in 2 hours, literally. The fourth session is called as One God or Many Gods. India is a market house of gods. Every second day, there's a new god being born. It's very confusing in India, especially when you really want to understand who God is. In many of the Western religions, it's very clear and very simple. But India has so much confusion. We really don't know what exactly is happening. So this session really clarifies that concept of one God or many gods. The fifth session is the reason for which many people join this course. Why do bad things happen to good people? This is a very powerful question that every one of us have at least asked ourselves one time in our lives. Why do bad things happen to good people? And nowadays, the opposite question, vice versa, is more important. Why do good things happen to bad people? That's even more important today. We see all the bad people, they are extremely happy and everything perfect happening in their lives. And all the good people, I mean, they're not so happy and contented. Why? So in this session, we're going to be discussing the law of karma very, very powerfully, and it's going to be a revealing session for you. But you cannot understand anything of this session unless you attend the first 4 sessions. Remember, these 6 sessions are building up on each other. If you have not attended a previous session, you will not understand the next session clearly. So if by any chance during the course you miss any one session, please hear the recording of that session before you join in the next week. It'll be best if you'll attend all the 6 sessions personally and while I'm speaking, because it will give you the best context and the question answers will be most relevant to you all. But if whatever reason you're not able to attend, do hear the audio, which will be shared with you all every session, and don't miss it. The last session is called as practical application of Gita in daily life. That means how do you live by the teachings of the Gita? So this is a very, very powerful session. And in fact, this is the session that solves the jigsaw puzzle. First 5 sessions are more or less like, I'll be throwing a lot of pieces at you all. I'll be throwing a lot of information at you all. And sometimes the information will be so much overload. But after all this, on the 6th session, I'll put it all together and it'll solve the whole puzzle. You can see the bigger picture, right? That is how these 6 sessions are curated. Let me tell you, that these 6 sessions, we have been teaching over a period of the last 2 decades, literally. And thousands of people have attended these 6 sessions and immensely benefited by it. Post the 6 sessions, we will be actually starting to teach the Gita, which we will be talking about much later. These 6 sessions will give you the foundation to live life. So having said all that, I'll begin today's session now. Welcome to the journey of self-discovery. I would really congratulate all of you all for having taken out time to be here. These 12 hours of your life are going to be immensely rewarding and immensely a learning experience. So the first session is called as the search for happiness. All of us are looking for happiness in life. The one thing that unites the 7 billion people in this world is the search for happiness. Every single person, no matter who he or she is looking for this one thing, which is happiness. Every person looks for the same happiness in different ways. A poor man thinks that a lot of money can make me happy. A rich man who has a lot of money thinks that going close to nature makes me happy. The poor man wants to come to a city. The rich man wants to go to a village. Somehow, people are not happy in the situation in which they are. Somebody who's close to nature wants to go to a city. Somebody who's in a city wants to come to a metro. Somebody who's in a metro wants to go to America. And somebody who's in America wants to go to the moon. Somehow, no one's happy with the situation in which they are. And somehow they feel, if I change the situation, I will experience happiness. The reality of life is happiness is not so much connected with externals as much as it is connected with internals. There was a king who wanted to find happiness in life. He went to a sadhu and he asked him, "Can you please teach me how to find happiness in life?" The sadhu told him, "Do one thing for me, and then I'll teach you." King asked him, "What do I do?" He said, "Go and catch a butterfly from your garden and get it back." So the sadhu, the king runs to his garden to catch a butterfly. There are many butterflies flying around. And when the king tries to catch a butterfly, the butterfly just flies away. Running behind it, trying to catch it, it flies more. And it goes on and on and on, flying away. No matter how much the king tries, he's just not able to catch the butterfly. Finally, the king gets exhausted. He falls on the ground, on the grass, and is just breathing. As he closes his eyes and is breathing, the butterfly comes and sits on his head, on his nose. The king goes to the sadhu and shares his experience. The sadhu tells him that's exactly how life is. When we search for happiness, happiness eludes us, runs away from us. But when we stop searching, when we least expect it, it comes to us. So different people have different perspectives of happiness and different definitions of happiness. Some people will say that happiness is available inside you. Don't look outside. Be silent. Experience peace. To run behind it, happiness runs away from you. Just experience happiness inside. Some people say that happiness is available outside you. Absorb yourself in work. In your work, you'll find your happiness. Jesus Christ says, "Seek and you shall find it." Others say, "Stop seeking and you shall find it." Now it's so confusing, what exactly is this whole concept of happiness? How do you really find it? How do you really, get hold of this subject of happiness? There was a small boy who wanted to play a trick on his school. So he came back to his school after school hours in the afternoon. And he came back along with 3 sheep. He got with him 3 sheep. And he numbered the 3 sheep. He put number 1 on the first sheep. He put number 2 on the second sheep. And he put number 4 on the third sheep. And he sent the sheep into the school. Went back home. The next day, when the staff and the cleaners came, they saw there was sheep litter all over the school. And they were very confused, So as they kept searching, they ran all around the school and they found 3 sheep, number 1, number 2, and number 4. They were wondering, where's the number 3 sheep that is missing? They ran all over the school, tried to find the number 3 sheep that is missing. And finally, they couldn't find it. They declared a holiday, emergency. There is a sheep roaming around in the school. They were trying to find the number 3 sheep that doesn't exist. Just like these people, all of us, we are trying to find the number three sheep in life that doesn't exist, in relationships, in gadgets, in position, in bank balance, in the type of car that you have. Somehow, the number three sheep seems to be promising you happiness. And in the process of looking for the number three sheep that is promising you happiness, people forget to enjoy the one, two, and four that already exists in our lives. So everyone is dissatisfied with what they have, and they're looking for satisfaction in what they don't have. A man is dissatisfied with his wife, thinking that if only this lady was my wife, I would be so happy. You know, um, people are dissatisfied with the job and position they have, and they just think, if I only get this office, this corner office, I'll be so happy. People are dissatisfied with the gadgets they have. If only I have this mobile phone brand, I'll be so happy. People are dissatisfied with the kind of cars they have. If only I get this car, I'll be so happy in my life. So this whole idea of looking for the number three sheep that is missing, that promises you happiness, somehow in the process of looking for the number three sheep that is missing, we forget to enjoy the one, two, and four that already exists in our life. So let us explore this idea of happiness by looking at the subject a little more deeply. Suppose we divide all the entities in this world into categories. Um, so we will roughly divide them into two categories: human beings and animals. So in animal categories, all other entities, birds, reptiles, everything falls under the animal category. And then humans are one category. So now, whenever you have categorization, whenever you do any kind of categorization, like say, for example, you categorize t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirts, sleeveless t-shirts. So you categorize them into categories. You will find there are common things and the differences. The common thing may be in color, the common thing may be in texture, the common thing may be in the shape, size of it. There will be differences. So anytime you have categorization, there will always be commonalities and differences. So now, suppose we want to find the commonality and differences between humans and animals. What would they be? Let us say, let us just first take the common things between humans and animals. What exactly are the common things between humans and animals? If any of you all could just type on the chat boxes, what do you think is common between humans and animals? You can quickly type on the chat. What do you all feel is a commonality between humans and animals? Laughing. Okay, that's wonderful. Life, emotions, sleeping. Both have senses, need to eat. Okay, great. So the Mahabharata has a very interesting words that talks about the commonalities and differences between humans and animals. I'll share this verse with you all. It's a very beautiful verse. And if you can learn this verse, it'll be nice. This verse says, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaitunam cha Samanya etat Pashubir Naranam. Dharmo hi tesham adiko vishesho Dharmena hina Pashubir Samanam. This verse says that there are four things that are common between humans and animals. It's called the seed: sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, and Maitun. The word Bhaya means fear, but Bhaya is also in connection with defense. When you're fearful, you defend yourself, right? From whatever attacks you. So that's what the word Bhaya is. It says, so the verse in the Mahabharata says, Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maitunamcha. Samanya, the word Samanya means common. Etat Pashubir Naranam. Pashubir means animals, and Naranam means humans. So these four are the common things between humans and animals. So the next part, it talks about the difference. We'll take it up later. So let's just analyze the commonalities between humans and animals. Sleeping, eating, enjoyment, and defending. We call this as SEED, SEED. You can look at this is the acronym for common things between humans and animals, SEED. So there are four common things between humans and animals. All animals sleep and all human beings sleep. If you sleep too less, you become crazy. If you sleep too much, you become lazy. Sleep is a part of life you cannot avoid. No matter who you are, you have to sleep. One day during the Mahabharat war, massive war was going on. And one particular night, the Mahabharat war continued into the night also. They kept fighting after sunset. And many hours the fight continued after sunset. It was late in the night. People were exhausted, they were feeling really tired, and still they were fighting with each other. And while they were fighting with each other, because they were so sleepy, they were actually getting mad. You know what Krishna did at that point? He got up on his chariot and he told both the sides, just sleep wherever you are. Just sleep. Everyone dropped their weapons on the battlefield itself. Wherever they fell asleep. Some people slept on horsebacks. Some people slept on elephants. Some people slept on the chariot itself. Some people slept on the floor. Wherever they were sitting, they were slept there only. Imagine, how important sleep is. One night, if you don't sleep properly, you are gone. You act very cranky the next day. When anybody comes to you, you start firing them, you do all strange things basically. Simply because sleep is such an important part of life. Human beings make sleep very sophisticated. Animals make it very simple. You've seen a dog sleep in the middle of a busy street. It's unbelievable. You know, I remember I was once walking on the Dadar footbridge in Mumbai. Dadar footbridge is like one of the most crowded areas in the world. I mean, probably uh, the entire population of a country like Mauritius or like a state like Goa can fit in the Dadar footbridge. That many people are there on that bridge. So when so many people are walking full speed, running and running, and there was a dog there sleeping peacefully. I was thinking, what a fortune this dog has. Human beings, they don't get sleep. Even after paying hundreds and thousands of rupees, you don't get such a good sleep. And if you sleep in a five-star hotel or you sleep in the best of beds, sometimes the animals are more fortunate than us. There are some really interesting type of beds that are created. In Germany, there's a German bed. This bed is a fully automated bed. It has glass screens all over. And when you go and sleep inside the bed, if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can still experience sunrise because of the way the bed is created. If you want to experience sunrise at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can experience it. And the bed also, it sends out fragrance. If you want to get up in the morning with fragrance of flowers, it will send out the right kind of fragrance. And it has a system by which those who are very difficult wakers, those who have great difficulty waking up, the bed can shoot a water jet on your eyes and wake you up like that. So very sophisticated bed. Precious human energy is channelized to experience pleasures that animals experience very easily. So many people insomniac. I know at least a few hundred people in Mumbai who just don't get sleep only. They're lying on the bed, lights are off, no sleep. And then they pop in sleeping pills and go to sleep. The natural act of sleeping has become so complicated. In fact, animals cannot choose to sleep over sleep. An animal has a certain number of hours that it needs to sleep. Exactly that many hours it gets up. You'll never find an animal sleeping forever, 10 hours, 20 hours. You'll not find that. Animals are, exactly when to get up. Human beings, we just don't know how to get up. And that's why we need sophisticated alarm clocks. And these alarm clocks, there's so much money spent on inventing these alarm clocks. Here is an alarm clock that when the alarm rings, the clock, it's a the light goes on. So the alarm, as it rings, it goes higher and higher and higher. It goes towards the ceiling. So at some point of time, you have to get up on bed to put it off. Here's an alarm clock which throws eggs. When the alarm rings, these two eggs get thrown out. Unless you catch those eggs and put it back into the alarm clock, it doesn't stop ringing. So here's the jigsaw puzzle alarm clock. It throws the puzzle out, and then you have to find all the four pieces and put it in, and only then it stops. This alarm clock that you see was invented by one university. They spent $15 million to invent this alarm clock. You know what this alarm clock does? It runs. And every time it runs in a different direction. So you have to find the alarm clock and put it off. Till then it keeps running in different parts of the house. So here's an alarm clock that bursts like a bomb, the dynamo, basically. This alarm clock starts flying like a helicopter. You have to run around and catch it. And this alarm clock is the best because you can remove all the frustration of having to wake up, catching the neck of this alarm clock and ringing it, to make it stop ringing, basically. So now the simple act of sleeping has become so complicated today. Animals close their eyes, go to sleep. But for human beings to sleep, so much sophistication, the type of bed, the type of alarm clock, the type of sophistication all around us. Animals eat and humans eat. Animals have a very natural way of eating, and they eat things that are very natural to them. So animals know what is natural to them. Like, for example, you'll never find a tiger saying that I want to become a vegan. The tiger eats what it's supposed to eat. You'll never find a cow saying that, "Chalo, let me go to McDonald's and try some chicken for today." No, very defined pattern of eating, and they follow what is natural to their body in their system. Nobody has to give them education on what works, what kind of diets are there, go to nutrition and find some, exotic diet for themselves. Animals just know what instinctively is good for them. Human beings experiment with so much unnatural food. Too much eating leads to diabetes, obesity. Too less eating leads to malnutrition, TB. So human beings somehow, they just can't figure out, what exactly to eat and what not to eat. And they love to experiment with life, with eating. In Burma, there's a delicacy, very interesting delicacy. So, in many of the villages of Burma, they keep a earthen pot outside the house. And they keep this earthen pot closed, lid with a lid. Anytime any insect or rodent dies in the house, they drop it in the earthen pot. Rats, cockroaches, lizards, anything. They put it in the earthen pot. And it's in that pot for like days and weeks and months together. Once in a year, they have a festival. And once in a year, they open this earthen pot. And you can imagine the smell that comes out from it. And actually, they cook the ingredients of this earthen pot. And that's their delicacy for the year. So imagine, what kind of, exotic cooking happens, in many of these places. MNCs spending huge amounts of money to improve nutrient content in various foods. Potato wafers and different types of chocolates. So, human beings have a great sophistication in eating. Animals, they just eat. That's all. So they don't make a big, what do you call it? A big show around their eating. Very simple, straightforward, and easy. They eat food that their body can digest. Human beings need a sophistication around it. Like in Singapore, there's a hotel that rotates. You sit in a hotel or sit in a restaurant and eating food, but you get bored of seeing the same thing outside the window. So here in Singapore, you sit in this hotel, and every second you see a difference in the scenery. You see different things, you know. So that's kind of sophistication that human beings end up doing with eating. The simple principle of eating. Human beings and animals defend themselves. Defense is very simple in animal life. Very simple defense. Teeth, nails, horns. That's all. They use their paws. Whatever they have, nature has given them. They use it to defend themselves. But they have human beings are the only species that systematically destroys large numbers and large number of other species also. That's why guns, so many missiles, nuclear weapons, so much weapons. Why? Defending oneself. Um, Humans and animals, along with the idea of defense in humans and animals is a very powerful idea. Especially in human beings, the defense system is so natural, or rather, it is so sophisticated today. Like I remember, I had gone to somebody's house many years back, and um, one day I had to get up early in the morning to go to a temple to attend the morning program. So I got up at about 3:30 or something, and I was walking out of the house. So nobody was awake, everybody was sleeping in the house. So I tried to open the door. There were so many locks on that door. One door, to open it, I had to figure out 5 or 6 locks. Imagine, just one door. So much of fear, especially in certain areas. Like in today, I'm sure all of you all know of what's happening in South Africa. There was a point in time where I used to go every year to South Africa. And I remember once, one friend of mine was telling me about something that happens in South Africa. So every house, they have private security. You press a button, and people with machine guns come, to help you. Many police stations have private security. Imagine, police stations have private security. So you can imagine the state of the place. If police stations need private security, then what is the system like? The insecurity is very high in human beings. And that insecurity pushes one to try to save oneself by using so many of these means. And the fourth is enjoyment. Humans also enjoy, animals also enjoy. Animals just do it on the street. Human beings, they do it in very sophisticated ways. Valentine's Day, giving roses, giving greeting cards, giving gifts, and such complicated way of connecting with one another. Animals follow nature's law to fulfill the bodily demands. But human beings exploit the body, squeeze out pleasure. Animals have a particular time in which they connect with their partners. But human beings, their desire to enjoy is so high, squeeze out all kinds of pleasures. The result is so many complexities, struggle and emotional complexities, risk so much health and emotional disturbances, and diseases. Have you ever seen a dog very sad? I just had a heartbreak. छोड़ के चली गई. Have you ever seen anything like that in animal kingdom? It's just so simple. For human beings, it's so complicated, just the simple idea of relationships. And then there are other types of enjoyment. There is cinema, entertainment. Then there is video games and so many types of games. So all this falls under the category of enjoyment. So in a sense, animals, humans, they have these four things: sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. Animals use all their intelligence only for the four things: seed, sleeping, eating, enjoying, defending. That's all. I remember in the monastery where I used to stay, there was once a point in time where people used to lose their hangers. You know, when you hang your shirt on hangers, right? So there were hangers missing. So all the monks were wondering, where our hangers are going. So they thought that this person was stealing mine, and that person was stealing mine. One day, one of our friends, he observed something very interesting. It was a little bird that picked up one hanger and flew away with it. So this person followed that bird to figure out where that bird is taking the hanger. You know what? To his shock, he saw that the bird had created a nest out of hangers. Put all the hangers together in a particular way, and it created a nest for itself. So animals, they use their intelligence, whatever intelligence they have, they use it only for these four things: sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. How to sleep better, how to eat better, how to enjoy better, how to defend better. That's all animals use their propensity for. Humans are different. Human beings and animals, they have some differences. What exactly are the differences between humans and animals? Many people think that human beings can reason, animals can't reason. But actually, that's not a fact. Even animals can reason. Like, for example, a cat, before it enters a house, the cat will ensure that the person who is, there's nobody in the room when he enters to drink the milk. Now, without reasoning, how can a cat do that? Right? That means some kind of reasoning is there in the cat. Or, for example, questioning. Every day, I go on morning walks. Every single day, I find a group of pigeons. At a particular time, 7 o'clock, you'll find 100 pigeons in one particular place. You go there at 6:45, empty. You go there at 7:15, empty. But at 7 o'clock sharp, at least 100 pigeons are there in one place. Why? They're asking the most important question of their life for that day. You know what it is? Where am I going to get to eat? So this question, where is my next meal coming? Animals have very basic questions. They don't have very sophisticated questions like us. The questions are very simple. The questions are how I'm going to eat, how I'm going to sleep. Very simple, basic questions there. But they also have questions. The ability to question is very much there in animals. Thinking is also there in animals. So animals have the ability to think. Because without their ability to think, how can they create such big nests, or ants creating such a massive empire, or birds creating so much, honeybees creating such powerful structures? They have some thinking. And animals also have logical reasoning. If a dog is there on the street and you show a stick to the dog and you just say something, the dog knows, it understands logically that you don't want it to come. Now, I was one day walking somewhere, and there was a street dog, just a complete street dog. I've seen that dog almost on a daily basis. And there was one lady who was coming from the other side. And this dog was just lying over there doing its own stuff. And when this dog saw this lady, it ran and pounced on her. And the dog and the lady, they're having such a great, connection. The dog understands, logically it understands, this person loves me. Somehow, they have this ability to understand things. So now, if these are not the differences between humans and animals, what is the difference? Simply, animals, whatever they have, reasoning, questioning, thinking, logical intelligence, every ability they have, they use it for the seed only. Sleeping, eating, enjoying, defending. Then how is a human being special? What makes a human special? And what makes a human different from animals? That's what the Mahabharata verse. If you remember, we will go back to that verse. It says, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaitanamcha, Samanya Etat Pashubir Narana. Then the next two verses, sentences define what is the difference. It says, Dharmena Hina, Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho, Dharmena Hina Pashubir Samana. The word adhiko vishesho means what is that special prerogative of human beings? Adhika Vishesh. What is the speciality that all of us as human beings have, which makes us different from animals? He says, Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesh. The word dharma, it makes us special. Dharmena hina pashubir samana. It says, if you don't have the word dharma in your life, then you are nothing but an animal. Now, what is the meaning of dharma? I'm going to just break the word dharma into 4 sentences. So if you are dharmic, if you follow dharma, if there's any concept of dharma in your life, these 4 things will also be there in your life. So what are the 4 things that makes humans special? Here are the 4 things. A stands for ability for higher inquiry. B stands for bliss. C stands for choice. And D stands for determination. This is what makes a human being special. This is what makes a human being different from animals. What are the 4 things? A stands for ability for higher inquiry. Ability for higher inquiry means ask things beyond the seed. Your question should not be, Arey, where should I get my next meal? Your question should not just be, where should I get my, enjoyment from? Where should I, how should I define myself? That should not be your questions. The question should be beyond the seed, beyond sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. That makes you special. The first is ability for higher inquiry. Second is bliss, the experience of greater pleasure. We'll discuss what bliss is in some time. Third is the power to choose responses. Animals don't have choices. They are governed by the laws of nature. Human beings have the ability to make choices. The ability to make choice makes you different from animals. And the fourth is D, which is determination. That means determination to not give up following the A, B, and C. That's what D stands for. So let us look at each of these in detail. What is the meaning of ability for higher inquiry? Human beings have the ability to ask fundamental questions of life, like who am I? Why am I suffering? What is the purpose of my life here? Um, Gautam Buddha, when he was born, he was known as Siddhartha. His father, called an astrologer, made a prediction. The astrologer predicted that this boy will either become the greatest saint in this world or the greatest king in this world. The father was very scared. Which father wants their son to be a sannyasi? So the father decided to create an entire system within the palace. Locked down for years, not months. Gautam Buddha, Siddhartha, was locked inside his palace for practically the entire childhood of his life and for most of his teenage. At one point, as he became older, he told his chariot driver, "Can you take me out? I want to go out and see what is beyond the palace." And they moved out of the palace in the chariot. For the first time, he left the palace, the comforts of his palace. And inside the palace, Gautam Buddha's father had created an environment where he saw no suffering. But when Gautam Buddha stepped out of the palace, the first time in his life, he saw a man who was old, wrinkled and shriveled face. He was shocked. He was like really scared to see that face. He asked the driver, "What is this?" He said, it's an old man. Driver said everybody will get old at one point. And they went further. They saw a man coughing so badly. Gautam Buddha asked him what happened to him. Driver said he's got disease. He's sick. And he said everyone will fall sick at some point. And then they went further. They saw a dead man being carried by 4 people. So Gautam Buddha asked, why are they carrying this man? He said he's dead. All of us will die at one point. Gautam Buddha made inquiries. And when he made inquiries, he became really determined. I want to find solutions to these problems. And that's where he really went on to another journey. So animals, they use all their intelligence only for the seed. Have you ever seen a dog look up at the sky and wonder why there are so many stars up there? The dog doesn't have time for all that. He's busy finding his next bone. You will never find animals getting into this introspective mode of asking serious questions about, different aspects of life. If you have seen, these, at least now you don't find them so much, but at least when I was young, there used to be these butcher shops, on the streets. And many of these butcher shops, they had a goat tied outside, eating grass. That goat is next to get killed. But the goat will never look up and see what happened to the fellow goat who went before him. The goat is looking below, eating grass. That's all. The goat is not getting into this whole idea of what is going to happen next to me. It's focused on the grass that is eating right now. So human beings can think differently and ask higher questions that animals cannot ask. Human beings have the ability to experience bliss. What is the meaning of bliss? Bliss means pleasure. So there are 2 types of happiness. And we're talking about happiness, right? So in Sanskrit, there is a word called sukha. There's another word called ananda. In English, it's all happiness. Sanskrit, these 2 means 2 different things. Sukha is that happiness that is a gap between 2 miseries. Right now, I'm miserable. 10 minutes later, I'll be miserable. In between the 2 miseries, what I experience is known as happiness. One lockdown just got over. Another lockdown is going to come. In the middle, we roam around. That is called happiness today, basically. When people understand the idea of sukha more easily, we talk to them about lockdowns and unlocks, basically. So, sukha is that. And it depends on external things. I need external things to experience sukha in life. But ananda is very different. Ananda is pleasure that you experience from within. You don't need external things to experience ananda. Happiness that originates from inside is known as ananda. Happiness that originates from outside is known as sukha. So, human beings have the ability to experience different levels of happiness. Animals, their happiness is very limited to eating, enjoying, sleeping, defending. That's all. That is the level at which their happiness lies. But human beings can experience different levels of pleasure. The first level is known as parthivaras. They are known as physical pleasures. So, physical pleasures are pleasures that are connected to the body. There are some people whose bodies have great ability to experience physical pleasures over some others. Sometimes animals have greater ability to experience physical pleasures than humans also. Like an elephant can eat 150 kilos. You try to eat more than 1 kilo, you will get a lot of problems in life. Bears can sleep for like 6 months continuously. Polar bears and frogs. You try to sleep for 10 hours, your back starts paining, you start having so many other issues. Difficult to sleep even for longer duration. So animals sometimes can experience physical pleasures more. But human beings can experience other types of pleasures. There's something known as swargiya ras. Swargiya ras means emotional pleasures. The concept of doing your duty nicely. So when you do your duty nicely, you experience a type of pleasure. That's known as emotional pleasure. Then there is known as Brahman ras. Brahman ras is intellectual pleasure. When you absorb yourself in knowledge, you grow. Knowledge is so much fun. There are some people who just dive into knowledge, read so many books and hear so many lectures, just absorb knowledge. Then there is bhakti ras, which is spiritual pleasure. The idea of experiencing higher aspects of life. So animals are only stuck at the physical pleasure level. They don't have access to emotional pleasure. They don't have access to intellectual pleasure. They don't have access to spiritual pleasures. Human beings, that's what the speciality is. C stands for choices. As I said, animals act by instincts. They have no freedom. They're programmed. Tiger cannot eat grass. A cow cannot eat meat. Um, Animals, are they don't get affected by your words. Like say, for example, um, if you call a dog a donkey, dog is not going to feel bad. Arey, why did you call me donkey? But if you call a man a donkey, the man is going to really feel bad. I mean, try it if you like. Call someone, hey, you donkey. That guy will get so upset. But if you call a dog a donkey or a cat or anything you call the dog is not going to bother only. Basically. So animals, they act based on instincts. They don't have choices how to get affected or how not to get. It is anything you affect their sleeping, eating, mating and defending. That's when they'll get angry. Otherwise, they just act very very normal. They don't have choices much. Human beings have a lot of choices. Human beings have the freedom to choose. Like for example, there was a man who was a drunkard, total drunkard. He had two sons. One son became a drunkard like his father, learned exactly how to mix, whiskey and soda like his father. He learned all the bad habits from his father and became a total drunkard successfully. Another son, same father, second son became a police officer, and he prevented so many people from getting into this habit of becoming drunkard. So this police officer was interviewed and asked, "How did he, how did he become so inspired?" He said, "My father was my inspiration. I learned from my father that I don't want to do this." And the drunkard son was interviewed and he was asked, "Why did you become a drunkard like this?" The drunkard fellow said, "My father is inspiration. I learned from him how to become a drunkard." Now, same father, but one guy learned what to do and one guy learned what not to do from the same father. So human beings have the choice to choose what they want to, how they want to respond, how they want to deal with situations of life, how they want to respond to situations of life. There are many human beings that feel, I have no choice only. I have no choice only. I have to do what they tell me to do. I have to just respond the way they want me to respond. No, human beings have choices. And when we exercise the power of our choice, that's what makes us human. Humans, the fourth thing is determination. The determination to do the A, B, and C. The determination to make higher inquiries. The determination to experience bliss. The determination to make the right choices. Unfortunately, a lot of humans almost act on the level of animals only. How? They just feel that how can I make choices? I have to just do what I'm told to do. That makes you more or less animals. So just to summarize everything we spoke so far, how are we special? We're special because there are four potentials that makes humans different from animals. The common things are the seed, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. And the four potentials or the four differences between humans and animals are A, B, C, D. Ability for higher inquiry, lists, choices, and D is determination to follow the A, B, and C. If anyone does everything with great determination, that person is considered to be uh, understanding the value of human life. Mahabharata says, If one does not explore the potential of being a human, that person is nothing but a sophisticated, polished, two-legged animal. He says, Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho, dharmena hina pashubir samanam. Dharmena hina, if you don't have these four potentials, you are nothing but a sophisticated, polished, two-legged animal. Dvipada pashu. Sanskrit is such a sweet language, when Sanskrit is used to give bad words also, it sounds so nice. Dvipada pashu. You tell somebody you are a dvipada pashu. It feels that you're glorifying him or giving him some padavi or something like that. But essentially, you're being called a two-legged animal. That's all. So the idea here is that humans, when they use the prerogative to do the ABCD, they become special. But when they do not use it to use the ABCD, they are nothing but animals. Human life is meant for something higher. It is not meant for something lower. In fact, sometimes humans can be really dangerous. There was a zoo in America where there was one cage, one massive cage, and there was a board that said most dangerous animal, and everyone ran there to see which is the most dangerous animal. And inside the cage, the empty cage, there was a mirror there. There was a mirror. What do you see in the mirror? You see yourself. The most dangerous animal, human being, basically. Whoever looks into the cage, that fellow is the most dangerous animal, basically. So, if you are beginning your inquiry, that's when we step into the human life. So, I would like to congratulate all of you all. By joining this course, all of you have begun the first A of the ABCD, ability for higher inquiry. To congratulate you all that you all have taken out your 12 hours of time to start thinking and asking higher questions. Sometimes humans can become worse than animals if they don't understand what their potential is. I'm going to ask you all some questions. Look at this. Have you ever seen animals consuming sleeping pills? Have you ever seen animals experiencing threat of extinction from each other? From humans, obviously. Have you seen animals experiencing scarcity? Hardly. Have you seen animals experiencing heartbreaks? Never. Have you seen animals attending stress management courses? Stress management courses of dogs in Shivaji Nagar. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen animals experiencing addictions and attending de-addiction programs and joining rehabilitation centers and all that? And have you ever seen animals committing suicide? If you have not seen all this and you see all this in human society, you understand that we are worse than animals. And therefore, it is very, very important that we start asking and understanding the higher aspects of life. There was once a farmer. This farmer won a lottery. So as a victory, he was given this brand new sports car. And this man got his brand new sports car to his village and attached a plow to it and started farming, farming his land using the sports car. Can you imagine a sports car being used in a farm to plow the land? That's like insane use of that car, right? If you use a tractor on a highway and you use a sports car on a field, it's madness. The tractor is supposed to be on the field. The sports car is supposed to be on a highway. Human body is like a sports car. Animal body is like a tractor. If you use the tractor to do the function of a human body, or if you use a human body to do the function of a tractor, it's the same thing. Human life is meant for something higher. Don't just spend it on the seed, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. If the only thing you're doing is sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending, then somewhere you have lost the higher purpose of life. Somewhere you have lost exploring the highest potential of human life. Therefore, just quickly giving you an overview of what we're going to discuss in today's session. We began by talking about how you are special. We saw the difference between commonalities and differences between humans and animals. The common seed, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. And differences are A, B, C, D. Ability for higher inquiry, the ability to experience bliss, make the right choices, and determination. Now we're going to see the other three aspects of today's discussion. What is the goal of every human being's life? As I said, the one goal for every human being is to experience happiness. All of us want to be happy. There's no one here that wants to be sad. And what kind of happiness do you want to experience? Most people want to experience happiness that is permanent. You don't want happiness that is temporary and short lasting, right? You want happiness that lasts, it's permanent, and it is ever increasing. You want the level of happiness to increase more and more and more. You want to experience happiness that is shared with loved ones. And you want the kind of happiness that has variety. So now, if happiness is present in this way, this is the kind of happiness we all want to experience. But if all these characteristics are absent in the happiness that you experience, it is known as relative happiness. So, what is the meaning of the word relative happiness? So there are two types of happiness in this world. There's something known as relative happiness, and there is something known as real happiness. So, to understand the idea of happiness, let me introduce you to another idea. What stops us from becoming happy? If there is only one word, if you have to say, what is that one word that stops us from becoming happy? The one word that stops us from becoming happy is problems. Problems could be of any type. Problems could be with expectations. Problems could be with, with the government. Problems could be with your health. Problems could be with finances. Any type of problems. So, because we experience problems, therefore, we do not experience happiness. So, what stops us from becoming happy? It's problems. Now, we spoke about two types of happiness, right? Relative happiness and real happiness. For you to experience relative happiness, you have to solve the relative problems of life. And for you to experience real happiness, you need to solve the real problems of life. Now you might be wondering what is going on. I'm throwing so many words at y'all, and these words seem to be so almost like word jugglery. There are many people who just juggle words and keep telling complicated things with juggling words. It's not word juggling. We can explain what it means. Let's focus on these two words: relative happiness, relative problems. Real happiness and real problems. So all of us want to experience happiness, that is for sure. All of us want to experience happiness that is real. That also is for sure. We do not want to experience happiness that is relative. Relative happiness means what? Let's understand what is the meaning of the word relative happiness. So to understand the meaning of the word relative happiness, we need to understand the meaning of the word relative problem. The relative problem is defined by a very simple statement. One man's problem, one man's food is another man's poison. That's what the definition of the word relative problem is. So let's now take up any problems in this world. Okay. Let's say, for example, if you have a toothache, is it a problem or not a problem? Obviously, it's a problem. I mean, if anyone who has a toothache can vouch for it, it's a serious problem. But for a dentist, is it a problem? It's business. You have toothache, lottery for the dentist. The more people have toothache, the more the dentist earns. It's relative, right? It's relative in the sense that one man's food is another man's poison. What is food for a dentist is poison for you. Or for example, take another example. Suppose you are it rains very heavily. You don't have an umbrella and you are in the market. What happens? This umbrella seller over there, rains is big business for umbrella sellers. But for a vegetable seller sitting over there, it's a loss. Because people are not going to be able to stand there. So rain is good for one, bad for another. So this is what is known as relative problems. What is good for you may be bad for somebody else. What is bad for you may be good for somebody else. That's what is called as relative problems. Now, what is a real problem? Real problems are real in nature. What do you mean by real? There are three ways to understand what a real problem is. If you remember, we spoke about the definition of relative problem. Relative problem definition is one man's food is another man's poison. But what is the definition of a real problem? The definition is it's common to all. No one wants it. And third, no one can avoid it. Common to all, no one wants it, and no one can avoid it. This is a definition of a real problem. So now let us just take all problems in this world, okay, and analyze these problems. And we try to find out whether they're relative problems or real problems. I want you to tell me on the chat box different problems that we face in this world today. And let's analyze if it is a real problem or a relative problem based on these two definitions that we just saw. Can some of you all just drop in some problems that you all are facing in your life? Global warming, okay? Hunger, sickness, okay? What else? Pandemic, perfect. COVID, a real problem, okay? What else? Competition, a relative problem. Okay, great. So you're understanding what I'm saying. Now let's take some of these words, okay? Let's say, for example, competition or unemployment. Now, is competition a problem for everybody? No. So let's look at it from this definition point of view. Is it common to all? Is competition common to all? No, there are some people who are completely out of the competition box. Mukesh Ambani, who's going to compete with him? I mean, very less people are there who are going to compete with him, basically. He also has, but then the kind of competition that many people experience, he will not experience ever in his life. Or for example, unemployment. Is it common to all? Many people are unemployed? Yes. But is everyone unemployed? No. It's not common to all. So there are many problems that are common to all and no one wants it, but nobody can avoid it also. Let's just take some examples. Like say, for example, stress. The person is going through stress today. That person will say, "Arey, it's a real problem." It is not a real problem because you are going through stress. All others are not going through stress. It's not common to all. So problems that are common to all, no one wants it and no one can avoid it. They are called as real problems. The rest all are called as relative problems. Corona, for example. Right now, everybody is affected by it. The pandemic is affecting everyone. But is everyone having corona today? Not everyone is having corona today, right? A lot of us got is over, and many people have antibodies, many people have injections, and have got some solution. So right now we are not experiencing the heat of it all the time. Yes, it is. Nobody wants it, and nobody can avoid it. But whether it is common to all or no, that's for a relative period of time. For some time, yes. For some time, no. Today I might get it. Then 15 days I have it. But after I finish, after the disease is over, then I don't have it. Right? Now, I want to put this in a different perspective to understand what are real problems in this world. The Gita talks about four things that are real problems. The first thing that the Gita talks about is birth. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. These are the words that Gita uses to define real problems. Janma, birth, according to the Gita, is a real problem. It's common to all. All of us are born, isn't it? No one wants it. That we will come back to it later. I will analyze whether no one wants it a little later. But no one can avoid it. That's for sure, right? Whether you want it or no, you can't avoid it at least. You know? You have to take birth. Let's just analyze birth nicely. When a mother is giving birth to a child, do you say labor pleasure? She's having labor pleasure. What do you say? It's a labor pain, isn't it? Birth is painful. For the men in this forum, you may not understand exactly what labor pain is. For all the women in this forum, you immediately understand. Almost every woman who is giving birth to a child takes a vow, never again. Painful. And it's not just painful to the mother, it's painful to the child also inside the womb. Have you ever seen a child come out, and smiling, big smile on the face? I'm happy, I'm. No, when the child comes out, it's crying miserably. And if the child doesn't cry, the doctor hits it at the back and makes it cry, So everybody is shouting, happy birthday, but the child is miserable. Child is like suffering like anything, basically. And not just that, when the child is in the womb of its mother, there's so many insects that are biting the child. Mother eats something spicy. The skin of the child is not developed. It's, just the flesh is still there on its body. And imagine if a spicy substance the mother eats and that touches the skin. Now imagine you have a wound and, some spice falls on the wound, chili powder, it burns so much, isn't it? That's the kind of pain the child goes through in the womb of its mother. Every child in the womb of its mother is praying to God, please let me come out. I will never ever enter the womb of a mother again. And then you come out and everybody is singing happy birthday and gifts are given to you, clothes are given to you, and birthday wishes are given to you. And then you completely forget all the problems and pains of birth. Completely focus on enjoying, But the reality is that birth is painful. Old age, it's one of the most painful experiences of life. What is old age, essentially? Old age is proximity to death. There's physical pains and there are emotional pains. Every joint in the body is paining. Anybody who is young and getting old, the transition, I can assure you all, I don't know many of you all, but I can tell you all that you all have the same experience. When you saw the first white hair on your body, oh my God, that's really traumatic, isn't it? Almost you can't believe that I am getting old, To a great extent, we tend to believe that, I'm just going to be the way I am forever. But the day you see that first white hair on your body, that's it. That really sends you a reminder that you are getting into the next phase of life, isn't it? Old age, it's tough, not easy to handle, painful. There was a young son who was taking his father to an old age home, to drop him to the old age home. So on the way, the father, in the car, he told his son, I'm feeling a little thirsty. Can you get me some water? Son stopped the car. He picked up his father and put him on a park bench. And he went and got some juice. The father asked for water. He said, let me give him some juice. So when the father was, when the boy came back with the juice in his hand, the father started crying tears. The son said, "Hey, don't worry. I'm going to keep coming to meet you. Don't worry. It's not so bad." The father said, "That's not what I'm crying." He said, "The reason I'm crying is because when I put my father in the old age home, I stopped here only and gave him juice." You know what the son did? The son put the father back in the car and took him back home. Old age is not easy to handle, and each and every one of us are going to get old at some point. Um, there was an old lady who had a heart attack. She was admitted in the hospital, and somehow she survived the heart attack and all that. And she told the doctor, "Anyway, I'm admitted in the hospital. I would like to have a facelift." So they really helped her have a facelift. Plastic surgery was done, and she was looking so young now. And she walked out of the hospital. And as soon as she walked out of the hospital, a car hit her, and she died. She went to God and she asked him, "What nonsense! I survived the heart attack. How did I die of the accident? If you wanted to kill me only, you should have killed me before. Why did you make me get such a young body and then I got this?" God said, "See, your body transformed so much, I couldn't recognize you. I'm sorry." So we have our own ways of trying to avoid it. Some people will dye their hair. Some people will do whatever they need to do, to show that they are young. You cannot fool old age. You can fool the world probably. And today with Instagram and with all kinds of Photoshop tools, you can fool the world royally, basically. You cannot really fool the reality of life, which is old age. Common to all, no one wants it, but nobody can avoid it. The third, obviously, is disease. The word dis-ease itself indicates the problem. It's a state where you're not in a state of ease, dis-ease. And the idea of disease is it's so real. And today, with the pandemic around, it's even more real, right? We will not all get the same disease, but at some point of time or the other, each one of us have got some disease or the other. And nowadays, we have all kinds of strange diseases coming in. Every second person having backache. 20-year-old boys and girls, tremendous backache. Heart attacks at 20, 25 years of age. The pharma industry is the proof of the growing number of diseases. And therefore, again, it's common to all. No one wants it, but no one can avoid it. The fourth real problem is death. The idea of death is so true and it's so painful. Every single human being, one of the greatest fears is the fear of dying. All our attachments are snatched away in 1 second. 1 second, everything that you are attached to, 1 second it goes away. And now, especially because of the pandemic, it's so much in the face, right? So much in the face. Almost every one of us have experienced death in a family close by. It's within our own families and close friends and relatives. The fear of death is very powerful today. Um, Many years back, one of our devotees, he was traveling he was, every year in December, we distribute Bhagavad Gitas, we do a marathon and thousands of Gitas are distributed. And on the streets, in the trains, everywhere, devotees are there giving out Gitas. So one particular day, two devotees, were traveling in a train from Churchgate to another station to sell Gita. Somehow they got on the train and one of them forgot a box of Bhagavad Gita on the station. After many stations, they realized they forgot the box. So they got off, they changed the train, went back again to Churchgate station, When they reached there, they got the shock of their life. You know what they saw? Huge crowd had gathered. There was a bomb squad, you know, and there were people were with all kinds of gears, moving around the box of Bhagavad Gita, and these two guys went in straight and picked up the box, and people were screaming and yelling at them. They said Bhagavad Gita is a time bomb. It doesn't explode immediately. It explodes after some time. And then they opened and showed that inside Bhagavad Gita were there. And then they were left, obviously. But the point was, imagine the fear. It's so real and it's so powerful. Everyone is afraid of death. It is explained the pain of death is so much. It's like 30. I don't know how many of you all here have been bitten by a scorpion. Scorpion bites are very painful, very, very painful. If you are bitten by a scorpion once, for a couple of hours you're just dancing. I mean, nowadays if a mosquito bites us, we can't sit peacefully. Or an ant bites us, we are like so disturbed. And a scorpion bites us, you're dancing for hours together in pain. And the pain of death is like 32,000 scorpions biting together. That is what the scriptures speak about the pain of death. It's intense. And naturally, people want to avoid it. There was a man who made a beautiful, he came to know that he's going to die in some time. So he was a sculptor. He made 9 statues of himself. Exact same looking, duplicate, same clothes, everything same. When Yamaraj came, he got very confused, seeing 10 people look same. And this man, he was thinking that I'm going to fool death. So suddenly Yamaraj got an idea. He pointed out to one statue and he said, there is a defect here in the nose. And immediately this fellow said, impossible. That's it. He was taken. So no matter how much you try to fool, you can't fool death. As sure as death, it says, right? Common to all. No one wants it, but no one can avoid it. In addition to these 4, there are 3 other real problems. The first real problem is called as Adi Atmik Klesh. Problems created by the body and the mind. Body and the mind mess up with you so much. The mind makes small things big. One person calls you one bad name, and that's it. For weeks together, you're thinking, why did this person say this? The nature of the mind is to expand problems. Problem may be small, but your mind can make it look so big. That's the nature of the mind, is to aggravate. So the body and the mind have solid problems that they create one after another. This pain, this reason to be frustrated, that reason to be frustrated, this complaint, that complaint, goes on and on. The second is known as Adi Bhautik Klesh. The first is Adhyatmic Klesh, which is problems caused by the body and the mind. The second is Adi Bhautik Klesh, problem caused by other living entities. One time I was talking to a man many years back, and this guy was telling me about how his life is so good. He's telling me about how everything in his life is perfect. He has the best wife in the world, the most obedient children in the world, the best house in the world, the best car in the world, the best salary in the world, the best boss in the world, the best company in the world. On and on, talking about how everything in his life is too good. For about half an hour, he was speaking about all the great things in his life. I was thinking something is wrong here. Doesn't seem to be normal. Finally, he said, but. The moment he said, but, I relaxed. I realized something is coming now that is going to really reveal what he has been hiding so far. He said, but my mother-in-law. And then he went on and on talking about how this one person in his life has made his life so miserable and how everything in his life is so bad because of this one person in his life. Each one of us have at least one person like that who is created to make our life miserable, isn't it? I mean, it could be a boss for you, it could be a husband or wife for you, it could be a friend for you, it could be a business partner, it could be a neighbor, it could be nothing else. One mosquito also can make your life equally miserable, right? So, Adi Bhautik Klesh means miseries caused by other living entities. The third type of misery is known as Adi Daivik Klesh. Misery is caused by natural disturbances. Every one now and then there's a volcano erupting, every now and then there's an earthquake, every now and then there is a storm or a cyclone or a tsunami or something or other keeps coming and bothering us. So these seven are the real problems. What are the just quickly summarizing everything we spoke. So we said how a human being is special because there are some differences between humans and animals. The common things are the seed, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. The differences are the A, B, C, D. Ability for higher inquiry. B stands for bliss. C stands for choices, and D stands for determination to follow the A, B, and C. For us to experience happiness, we'll have to overcome problems. We saw there are two types of problems: relative problems and real problems. Relative problems, the definition is one man's food is another man's poison. So relative problems means what is a problem for you may not be a problem for me. What is a problem for me may not be a problem for you. That's why it's called relative. But real problems are those problems that are common to all. No one wants it and no one can avoid it. So in that, there are seven real problems that are defined. The first four are birth, old age, disease, death. The next three are Adi Atmik Klesh. Misery is caused by the body and the mind. Adi Bhautik Klesh. Misery is caused by other living entities. And Adi Daivik Klesh. Misery is caused by natural disturbances. So for us to experience relative happiness, you solve relative problems, you'll experience relative happiness. But if you want to if you want to experience real happiness, you need to solve the real problems of life. The question now is, how do I achieve real happiness? One man had a boil on his hand. So he went to a doctor and he asked the doctor, what do I do? I have a boil here. The doctor gave him a cream. He said, apply this cream, boil will go. He applied the cream, boil went away. The next day, the boil came in another part of the hand. He went back to the doctor. The doctor said, wherever boil comes, keep applying. This fellow realizes doctor doesn't understand only what the problem is. He went to another doctor, and the other doctor told him, your problem is that your blood is bad. He gave him a blood purifier. And he said, drink this, you'll become all right. I took the blood purifier, and he never got the boils again. So many times, we want to solve our problems of life, but instead of giving us a solution, we are given a temporary stopgap solution. It is not a pathological solution, it is a symptomatic solution. But good doctors are those who treat the disease from the root and not just the external symptoms of it. So there are two types of things in this world. There's a painkiller and there's a medicine. Medicines cure the disease from the root. Painkillers just give you a superficial relief from the medicine, from the disease. So there are some advantages of painkillers and there are some disadvantages. What is the advantage of painkiller? The first advantage is that instant relief from pain. Second advantage is that cheap and easily available. What is the disadvantage? The first disadvantage is that it has side effects. Second is that it's not a permanent cure. The third is that it can actually make the disease worse. Therefore, when we are trying to deal with the problems in this world, all of us are given three painkillers or three superficial solutions. What are the three superficial solutions that the world gives us? The first is known as scientific advancement in sense gratification. The second is known as speculation. And third is known as superstitious religious rituals. I'll explain what these three painkillers are in detail now. The first painkiller is sense gratification, scientific advancement in sense gratification. You know, there is a bird in Australia known as the ostrich. Ostrich has a very strange habit. Whenever some danger attacks the ostrich, something really dangerous, you know what the ostrich does? It digs a hole in the ground and puts his head inside it. If it doesn't see the danger, according to it, the danger doesn't exist. If some animal is going to attack the ostrich doesn't go and attack the animal. It finds a hole in it, puts his head inside. Khatam. Problem hai nahi mere liye. So a lot of people in this world, just give me 1 second, running out of battery. I'm sorry. I, the laptop just suddenly shut down. I'm sorry. Are you all able to see the slide? And are you able to see me? Able to hear me? Okay, great. So yeah. So just like the ostrich, it hides itself, and for it the danger doesn't exist. A lot of people in this world also do exactly that. You know what they do? They hide themselves from the realities of life, and they don't want to look at the realities of life. You tell them, we're having some serious problems in life, birth, old age, disease, death. They say, come on, what are you talking about? They don't want to see the realities of life. Instead, they want to busy themselves with all the sense gratificatory tools that are available today. Fancy gadgets, you know, entertainment and movies, the best of foods, fine dining. Social media is always there, you know, Instagram, Facebook, so many ways of distracting ourselves. And if nothing else, drinking. All the problems in this world can be solved with one peg. And if it goes worse, drugs. So there are people in this world who do not want to see the realities of life, and they hide themselves from the realities of life by just immersing themselves in all kinds of enjoyments. Scientific advancement in sense gratification has given us so many opportunities to forget the problems of life. And people just absorb themselves in one after another. You go through a crisis, just go and see a movie, you'll forget your problem. Take a drink, you'll forget all your problems. Do this, you'll forget all your problems. So people just immerse themselves in all kinds of enjoyment just to forget the realities of life and absorb themselves just in sense gratification pleasures. Now, the question is, does material advancement really solve the problems of life? If you really look at the way in which the world is evolving today, in the past, TVs were fat and people were thin. Today, people are fat and TVs are thin. So, the way material advancement works is that it solves a problem, but it creates other problems. Like a mobile phone, you're always available, easy to connect, and it speeds up your work. But there is no privacy now, health issues, and so much stress. every problem, every solution gives rise to a new problem. Medicines, they cure diseases, but they also cause side effects. So essentially, material advancement, it solves the problems of life. It provides many solutions, but it actually provides only temporary relief. It's not a permanent solution. In fact, it gives rise to further problems. So the first way in which people absorb themselves or rather solve the problems of life is scientific advancement and sense gratification. The second way is known as speculation or mental trick. There are so many types of speculations today. Your problem, there are so many ways of dealing with it. Positive thinking is one of the most common things. And today, the life coaches and motivational speakers, the amount they emphasize on positive thinking, you can't just, there is something known as toxic positivity now. People are just fed up of hearing the word positive thinking. It's so much, we have heard positive thinking, positive. Arey Baba, sometimes you have to experience problems also and face it. All the time, we don't have to be positive. There are sometimes we have to cry also. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel frustration in life. You can't always think positive all the time. But yes, positive thinking does help in many aspects of life. Self-help books. People consume self-help books by the millions, and they feel that all their problems are solved by reading self-help books. Yes, self-help books help us deal with relative problems of life, but they do not help us touch the real problems of life. If you have a relative problem, yes, pick up self-help books. You will find some solution in it. There's something known as laughter therapy. People just go to laughing clubs and laugh a lot. They think that by laughing, my problems will be solved. Like there was a guy who went to a psychiatrist, and he told the psychiatrist that um, I have a problem. I feel like committing suicide. What should I do? So the psychiatrist said, I'll tell you what I do when I feel like committing suicide. Imagine this guy's already in a quicksand. He's trying to help somebody who's drowning in quicksand along. So the psychiatrist said, when I go through problems, I go to the circus. And in the circus is a clown. When I look at the act of this clown, I laugh so much that I forget all my problems. This man said, Sir, I am that clown. So today's world is smiling faces, crying hearts. You ask anybody, how are you? Big smile on the face. But inside the heart, there is an ocean of misery inside. People just don't know how to handle it. So, laughter therapy may help you deal with the relative problems of life. But when it comes to real problems, it's not the solution. Then there is NLP, neuro linguistic programming. You go to a past part of your life and delete one small aspect that is causing trauma. Again, it doesn't deal with the real problems of life. And then there are so many forums, landmark and this and that. So many people go to these forums and they find, some hope, some positivity, some kind of solution. But yes, it may solve the relative problems of a life, but it does not address the real problems. Then there is yoga and meditation. Today, when we talk about yoga and meditation, is more or less like exercise or at max pranayama and things like that. Yoga and meditation does help you get a positive mindset. Helps you feel fresh. It helps you feel rejuvenated. It helps you feel a little connected to something higher. But it doesn't deal with the real problems of life, which we need to find ways to solve. The third way is superficial religious rituals. There are so many people who get into these superficial religious rituals to solve the problems of life. There are so many TV channels that talk about different babas that come and give strange solutions to their problems of life. Somebody says give out samosas. Somebody says go and do this. Somebody says go and do that. So many religious superficial rituals are given to help us deal with the problems of life. People go on, Mount Vrat. People go on fastings, dham yatras, and so on and so forth. Now, all that is good, I'm not saying that is bad, but it's just that it is not going to help you solve the real problems of life. It will at max help you deal with some aspect of your life. All of us, we are all going very fast. Today's time is, everyone is running, right? At great pace, we're running. But unfortunately, many times we're running at great pace, but in the wrong direction. So the question is, what is the permanent solution? How do you solve the real problems of life? And how do you experience real happiness? What is the permanent solution that we're talking about? To help us understand this, let me tell you all a story. There was once a very rich man who had a young son, very small boy, and they went to some fair, big fair, and the boy got lost. Father tried to search for the boy for a long period of time, and the child tried to search for his father for a long period of time. They just couldn't find each other. The father left home. The child was like miserable, was crying like anything. When the child was crying and crying and crying, one man came to the child and told the child, "Don't worry, I'll solve your problem." Man went and got the child pizzas and ice creams and toys and iPad and all kinds of video games. The child was so excited with all the food and all the games. He was enjoying himself like anything. After half an hour, he realized his father is not there. Again, he began to cry. Another man came to the child and he said, "Hey, don't worry, I will solve your problem." And he gave him a pep talk, super inspiring pep talk. Be positive, think positive. The secret of the universe is to think positive. He, he motivated the boy so heavily. Suddenly the boy felt, yes, I can do anything in the world. After half an hour, again he started crying when he realized his father is not there. The third guy comes. He says, I will solve your problem. He does a big yagya and he says, this yagya will solve all your problems of life. The yagya felt good and all the rituals felt nice. And after half an hour, again the boy started crying. The fourth guy came there and he took the child and took him to his father's house and dropped him there. And the child stopped crying. That was a permanent solution for his problem. All of us are just like this child. And all of us, we all have been separated from our father. Our father is God. And he is like a multi-millionaire. And we are all lost children of God. And we are separated from God from a long period of time. And we are in this world, and one person comes and tells us, here, all the best of luxuries and comforts in life. Somebody is giving us iPads, somebody is giving us food, clothing, shelter, somebody is giving us a job, somebody is giving us huge bank balance and cars and gadgets and all that. And we're happy. We're happy for 20, 30 years. After 20, 30 years, we realize we have everything, but we're still not happy. Something is missing in life. Each and every one of us, no matter how successful you have come to a point at least once in your life where you have felt this. And if you're honest enough, you'll admit it. There's a point in time where you have felt it. Something is missing in my life. Something is missing in spite of me having everything. The best of jobs, the best of cars, the best of houses, the best of bank balance, everything I have. But still something is missing. And then there are some people who come and give us pep talks. Nowadays, YouTube is filled with all these motivational videos of people telling us to remain positive and this and that. Yes, these pep talks inspire us for a certain period of time. But the moment the inspiration goes down, you have to take the drug again. Many times it becomes like drugs, you know. You have to keep hearing it again and again to feel inspired for 10 minutes. And then after that, again, it goes down. And that's when you realize, yes, this is good for the relative problems of life. But this is not the permanent solution we're looking for. And then there are others who introduce us to rituals. We keep doing these rituals. We keep going to Char Dhams, and we keep doing Bhagavad Saptas. We keep doing this. We keep doing that. But something still feels missing. Then there's a fourth person who comes and actually gives us a real solution, connecting back us to our real Father. And the moment you experience the connection back to our real Father, that's when you realize this is what I've been missing all my life. This is what I've been searching for all my life. So essentially, just to summarize, everything we spoke, we started by talking about how humans and animals are common. They have common things, which is seeds, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. There are differences: A, B, C, D. A stands for ability for higher inquiry. B stands for bliss. C stands for choices, and D stands for determination. And we saw that all of us want to experience happiness in this world, but there are problems that stop us from being happy. There are two types of problems: relative problems and real problems. The definition of relative problem is one man's food is another man's poison. And the definition of real problem is common to all, no one wants it, and no one can avoid it. And according to this, we saw there are seven real problems: birth, old age, disease, death; adhyatmic klesh, miseries caused by the body and the mind; adi bhautik klesh, miseries caused by other living entities; and adi devik klesh, miseries caused by natural disturbances. For us to experience real happiness, we need to solve the real problems. And what is the solution? How do we solve the real problems? All of us are looking for solutions. We're looking for the right thing. What is the right thing we're looking for? We're all looking for happiness in life. But you know what the problem is? We're all looking for the right thing in the wrong place. No matter how much you search for the right thing in the wrong place, you will not find it. To help us understand what is this right thing and the wrong place, let me explain a little bit. See, there are so many things in this world. A lot of people feel happiness comes from things. Actually, happiness does not come from things at all. Externally, happiness does not come from external things. There are people who have everything and still are miserable. Mr. Boeing, I'm sure all of you have heard of this, of Boeing airplanes, right? This man, he was the creator of the Boeing airplanes. So Mr. Boeing was asked once by a reporter. He was somewhere and the reporter asked him, "Sir, what are you thinking of right now? What is the thought in your mind right now? What are you thinking?" You know what he said? He said, "Right now I'm thinking of when I'm going to toilet next." The reporter was shocked. I mean, who thinks like that, you know? The reporter asked him, "Why did you say that?" He said, "I have a urinary tract infection." It's a very painful type of infection that he had. Every time he passed urine, it would pain him so intensely. He said, "The only thing I can think of now is when I'm going to pass urine next." Can you imagine one of the richest men in the world having probably everything that we can ever imagine and think of, and probably more? The only thing he's thinking of is this. Things of this world don't necessarily give us happiness. So we're searching for the right thing, which is happiness, but don't search it in the wrong place. What is the meaning of wrong place? Like, say, for example, a place where people go to eat in Hindi is called as Bhojanalay. A place where people go to drink is called as Madiralay. A place where people go to study is called as Vidyalay. A place where people go to read books or libraries are called as Pustakalay. The Gita calls this world a very special name. A very interesting name is given to this world. You know what the name of this world is? It's called as Dukkalay. The word alay means place. Just like Madiralay means a place where Madira or drinks is available. Bhojanalay means a place where bhojan is available, food is available. This place is called as Dukkalay. So what is available here? Misery. And what are we looking for here? Happiness. We're looking for the right thing, which is happiness, but we're looking for it in the wrong place. So therefore, the Bhagavad Gita talks about looking for the right thing, which is happiness, in the right place. And therefore, the question now is there a right place? So if this world, which is the material world, is a place of misery, is there a spiritual world, which is a place of happiness? If this place where we are is a place of misery, is there a place somewhere else, which is a place of pleasure and happiness? That leads us to the next question. Does the spiritual world exist? And for a spiritual world exist, does God exist? Which we will take up next time. Just quickly summarizing everything I spoke today, and then we can have question answers. We started by talking about the commonalities between humans and animals, the seed, sleeping, eating, enjoying, and defending. And we spoke about the differences between the four A, B, C, D: ability for higher inquiry, ability to experience bliss, C is choices, and D is determination to experience the A, B, and C. And we saw that for us to experience happiness in this world, we need to solve our problems. There are two types of problems. We saw there are real problems and relative problems. The definition of relative problem was one man's food is another man's poison. The definition of a real problem is common to all, no one wants it, but no one can avoid it. According to that definition, we saw there are four real problems: birth, old age, disease, death. And there are three others, which is Adi Atmic Klesh, misery is caused by the body and the mind; Adi Bhautik Klesh, misery is caused by other living entities; and Adi Devik Klesh, which is misery is caused by natural disturbances. And we saw that just like there are symptomatic solutions and there are pathological solutions, the world is offering us three symptomatic or temporary solutions to the problems of this world. What are the three solutions the world is offering us? Scientific advancement and sense gratification. The second solution is speculation or mental trick. The third is superficial religious rituals. So these are temporary solutions. No matter how much you do it, you cannot find the real solution to the real problems of life. And what is the real solution? The permanent solution, the real solution is our connection back to God, our real Father. Just like the small child, no matter how much you give the child, whether you give it toys and the fun things, or you give it pep talks, or you give it religious rituals, the child is not going to be happy. When the child is connected back to his father, the child becomes happy. Similarly, when we experience the connection back to our divine Father, that's when we will experience happiness. Therefore, we're all looking for the right thing, which is happiness. We're looking for it in the wrong place, which is this material world, which is known as dukkhalaya. Don't look for happiness in things of this world and in this world. And therefore, we will come to the last discussion, which is whether really whether sukhalaya exists, whether God exists, whether the spiritual world exists. We're going to see that the next session. We'll stop here. We'll have question answers now. These questions. So let me just tell you all one thing very important is in these discussions, as I told you all right in the beginning, these are life-changing discussions. Please do not underestimate these question answer sessions. These question answer sessions are the most important part of the whole discussion because it will help you process a lot of your doubts. Doubts are like demons. They sit very small and they start expanding. So anyone who has any doubt, no matter how silly, stupid, or insignificant it may seem, please ask. I highly, highly encourage you all to ask doubts, ask questions, and every question that you ask is going to benefit everybody else also. So don't worry. So if you think you have a silly doubt in your mind, I can assure you that many people in this forum also have the same silly doubt. So you may be helping many others by asking their doubt. So please, take time and ask your doubts whenever you have. Thank you. Now the forum is open to questions and discussions, please. I hope whatever I said made sense to all of you all. You can please feel free to write on the chat boxes and whatever you all feel. And if anybody would like to ask questions, you can unmute yourself and ask, or we can unmute you all, or you can type it on the chat box also.
Guruji, I had a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just one thing. At least during the question answer sessions, please try your best to keep your videos on so I can see all of you all.
Yeah, there's some problem with the.
Yeah, whoever has problems with camera and network and all, it's fine. Yeah. Otherwise, at least the next time, please.
Yeah, sure, we'll try. Yeah.
Yes, Bijal, please go ahead.
Yeah, Guruji, I had a question like right up till now, right from childhood till now, I have been listening that or hearing that, human birth is the supreme form of like compared to the other animals and like that type of birth. So I mean, like human birth is given after like so many yonis. You have to take birth in so many yonis, and then you get birth as a human. So that is the best sort of a thing, right? But now listening to your session today, after listening to you today, I just had a question that would it not be the other way around, as in, because being humans, we are all are like, being exposed to dukh, and like as you said, it's dukhale, whereas animals and birds, they don't have that concept as at all. So would it be not the other way around, as in like humans not, I mean, I agree that okay, humans have those like advantages over animals and birds, but when it comes to that sukh concept, the concept of sukh and being content with what you have, so then in that case, would that not work in the opposite way, as in instead of humans being superior, is it not so that the animals and the birds would be superior, where they just have limited, they are not they are not experiencing that dukh sort of a thing. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
a relevant question.
yeah. Thank you, Bijalji.
Yeah.
So, in terms of contentment, yes, animals have greater contentment levels than human beings. Uh, they are like if you, I mean, I see, when you throw grains on the street for pigeons, the
Hmm.
pigeons only eat as much as they want and they'll go away. They leave the rest for
Correct.
others. But if
Right.
you look at what is happening in South Africa now, people are taking kilos and kilos of stuff which they will never use in their life also probably. Human beings, that's what I'm saying. So if humans don't explore their higher aspects of life, they become worse than animals. So in that sense, animals are better. But if humans actually start exploring the higher aspects of life,
Right.
then they actually have great potential.
Hmm.
Right? Make
Right.
sense? Vijay?
Yeah. No, because what happens, because of all these things, you are actually like, we are moving away from our father, that sort of,
Correct.
from God.
Yes.
Whereas
Correct.
these people, like the animals and the birds, they are having limited, I mean, they are staying true to their themselves, and they are like doing whatever they are supposed to be doing, as like if they've taken birth, that sort of a thing.
Correct.
And at
Correct.
least they are like closer to God than what we are. I mean, at the end of it, that's what I can say.
You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other questions or comments?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So like in the last slide, like you have mentioned that we need to connect to God. So just wanted to know like what is the path or the procedure or how we can go through that path.
I'm so happy to hear this question. You seem to be a very advanced soul because the whole course is meant for this, Pranaliji. By
Okay.
the end of the sixth session, you will have a very defined, clear cut path to revive that connection. Don't worry.
Yeah. Thank
Just
you.
hang on a little bit. By
Yes.
the end of the six sessions, you'll have a very clear, defined path. Nothing ambiguous, nothing wishy washy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sure. Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for your eagerness. Anyone else? Any other questions or comments?
Namaskar, Guruji. I want to ask one question.
Yes.
It is understanding till date that we have something known as the baggage of earlier births, or like Sanchit, or something destiny. Uh, are these real things, or are only it has been fooled us? Like you are suffering because you have earlier births, something which is with that baggage you are carrying to this birth, and whatever you are doing in this birth, you will carry it to the another future births. So I just want to know, is it real, or it is to just to frighten us, or is it like the shortcut to don't understand why we are suffering actually?
You will understand the answer to this question on day 5 very clearly. The fifth session will give you very clear picture of the whole idea of destiny, free will, suffering, karma, everything you'll get to hear, understand clearly on day 5. If you can just hang on till then. Okay.
Guruji, I'm Ganesh Shanbag.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Guruji, what is the difference between dharma and karma?
Dharma and karma.
Yes.
So dharma essentially it refers to duties, our constitutional duties. So just like the salt is salty, the nature of salt is to be always salty, right? The dharma of sugar is to always be sweet. So similarly, the dharma of all of us is a particular thing which we will start. You will see it more towards day 6, basically. So dharma is referring to that duty which is supposed to be our innate nature. When we follow what we are created for, it's called as dharma. Following the path of dharma. Karma means actions. Now, your karma, which is actions, can be in alignment with your dharma, which is your constitutional duties, right? When your karma is in alignment with your dharma, which is so dharma is the goal or um, the purpose for which we live, and karma is action. So somebody's karma could be very much misaligned with the goal, with dharma. That karma is considered to be bad karma. And somebody's karma may be very much aligned with the goal, with the purpose. That person's karma is considered to be higher karma, basically. So this is the way in which you connect to the two. You will get greater understanding of it as we go ahead in the course. These terms will become much more clearer and much more lucid to you. Okay, Ganesh? Anyone else? Anything else to ask?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just one reflection. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Rajkoti.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It's really interesting to say thank you, Prabhu, for the nice, wonderful class, Prabhuji. And it's really nice to see just reflections, Prabhuji, how elephants can eat much more than us, what we eat. And also how animals are so intelligent in building, with creativity and everything. It's really nice, Prabhuji. And thank you for the wonderful class. And we think we had the best, but that's true.
Thank you.
Namaste, Guruji. Hi. Yeah, so this is just some interesting observations that I had in terms of birth and death, and birth being painful and death being painful. Strangely enough, it's something that we don't remember, or we're not there to talk about. In the case of death being painful, so that was a bit of a eye opener, or something that I can't relate to, because obviously nobody who's dead comes back to say how it was. And nobody who remembers how birth was, you know what I mean? So it's just a something that caught my attention, let's say. And then, you talked about animals knowing what they come to eat. So the tiger knows he has to eat meat, and a cow knows he does well with this. But somehow for man, how does that work? There are people who eat vegetarian, who eat non-vegetarian as well. So is it that we're cut out to eat both? It's just a question.
Right. So right now, I've thrown this thought on your on your court, right? Well, what is the right thing to do is something that we have to decide for ourselves, depending on what our goal of life is. So as we go ahead in the session, you will actually understand some deeper truths of life, which will help you reflect on this question that you have right now. So right now, I've just kind of opened up a Pandora box for you. But as you go ahead in the course, and as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you will see a life and a whole dimension of looking at life, which is very different from what you have been seeing so far. And only when you understand that, you will actually understand the import of the choices you make in life. Not just of food, but of practically every aspect of life. So every choice we make is directly connected with our purpose of life. Therefore, it's not just a matter of eating. It's a matter of why we exist. So only when you understand that entire context of existence, you will even understand this one small context of what food to eat. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the thoughtful question. Anything else? Any other question? Muskan is asking, how do we stick to the D part? Determination becomes difficult to follow. Yes, that is where we need help. So determination usually is not easy for a human being to summon, because determination is the I would say the ability of one's intelligence. Usually, what happens is for us to get carried away is easy. To lose determination is easy. Whether it is for following a diet, whether it is for exercise, whether it is for a spiritual practice, everything basically. So usually determination comes where when we seek help. So if we do not have determination ourselves, we seek help to become determined, and we seek inspiration to become determined. So that's where association comes in. So, like for example, just the fact that we are all sitting together and having a discussion on a subject which is so deep, right? So this discussion gives us a certain amount of inspiration. Like you will typically see Friday morning, your mood will be very different from what it is on other days. Because Thursday night you have heard something powerful, right? So usually our determination is very much affected by the kind of connections we have. So if you are constantly with people who are less determined than you, you're not going to be able to make it. You won't be able to keep up anything. But if you are in connection with people who are more determined than you, so with that association, your determination develops. Okay. Great. So it's been a great pleasure and honor to be with all of you all. I'm sorry we went on a little late today, but usually we'll try to stick more towards the time. But typically these sessions, you cannot restrict them in terms of time exactly. We can't put them in a box, because these are life-changing sessions and these are very, very powerful, thought-provoking sessions. Today's session was just the beginning of the journey. And as we go ahead on every session, will go deeper and deeper and deeper. There'll be a point of time you will be amazed by the amount of information that has been thrown at you all, but it will be in a very, very positive way. This course, as I'm telling you all once again, you will need to hear it minimum 2 or 3 times. One time you're not going to be able to digest everything. The amount of information that is going to come to you is going to be very overwhelming. So please be ready to hear the course again also later. We will give you all recordings of it. We will give you all whatever you all need to go through it again. But if you internalize this course, you actually will be able to find a lot of transformation in your personal lives. Also, just before I end, I would like to tell you all that I usually love to have a very personal connect with all my students. So I'm not a teacher who just teaches and walks away. I would love to be a part of the lives of my students. So whoever have heard from me, whoever have studied under my courses, they've usually stayed connected with me for the rest of their lives. So we are not just looking at just doing a 6 session and finishing off the course. That's not how it is, especially because Gita is a life-changing subject, and it's a subject that is very, very personal. It's a lifestyle book, right? So to apply the lifestyle book in your own lives, it's a great idea to have a personal connect with the teacher. So all of y'all are most welcome to reach out to me either during the sessions when we're having these conversations, or even post the sessions when throughout the week. If anybody would like to talk, anybody would like to discuss, you're most welcome. Please feel free to reach out. I'm a part of that WhatsApp group that all of y'all are in, and you please feel to reach out to me. And although, as I said, there are many questions of yours that will get answered over a period of time. So as we go ahead on each session, you'll get clarity more and more and more. So some of the doubts that you will have, we will already be answered. But if some of you all just want to develop a connection, would like to share about your own lives, would like to, get to know me more, things like that, you please feel free to reach out and we can definitely connect. Okay. Thank you very much. So great honor and pleasure to be with you all, and
Thank
see you
you.
all next Thursday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.